Alright, I've got a patch here that I thought was cool and thought I'd explain it a little bit. Um, the main voice for it is actually this 1050. What I'm doing with that is you can control, to a certain extent, the 1050's behavior by sending it a square wave, even a high-pitched square wave, to its external advance input, which is something that Rob Keeble added to the module, not originally a feature on the 1050. Really allows you to kind of hack the module in a lot of ways. Um, I, it's a little bit more obvious if I do it like that. You can get some really interesting, like, sideband kind of activity, like ring modulation. It basically, yeah, but I call this patch the wrought iron viola. So I have one 104 oscillator. I call it harmonic addressing. It's just adjusting the pitch until you can kind of create a third or a fourth tone on top of whatever you're actually playing through the module. So you can just use the fine tune knob on this particular oscillator to adjust the speed and the pitch of the sound that you're getting from the 1050, which is currently processing three other sound sources. One's another 104 oscillator. And down here, there is a Platts clone that has, I believe, a DX7 mode currently running. And then there's the Create Audio Captain Big O over here. I'm using the wave folded output, so it's a wave folded sine wave. So we have a wave folded sine wave going into square wave territory, and then we have a sine wave here. Then let's see, and then the Platts is playing a kind of an abrasive undertone. You might be able to hear my headphones right now. That's the viola. So you have this like weird, glitchy, ring modulated sound source. And what I did with that was I ran it into my ZDSP over here on Mariana algorithm. So it's a FDN, and which gives you this kind of interesting metallic timbre. And I've got the feedback from that being run through this 121 filter, which is self-patched to tweak its resonance essentially. And then that goes from there into the delay on this neutron that I've got racked down here. Every time I want to take the neutron out of my rack, because it's a lot of space, I remember that I use it for things like this. So I've got it going through that bucket brigade delay up there, which is being CV modulated. And let's see, I'm trying to remember the modulation. Oh, is coming from gates from the RAND module over here. It's a CalSynth clone of Marbles. It is beautiful. It is basically a Marbles and everything but name. Excellent, excellent module. It's sort of running the patch at the moment with those gates. And then, so I've got my metallic weird sound source coming from this kind of like very fast sequence of pitches. I have an Intellijel buffered mult here that's sending the pitch information from the marbles to all three oscillators that are going through the 1050. And then I did actually sort of by ear and using Ableton tune that fourth. So it is essentially four voices happening like a string quartet. And then what I've got down here is sort of a variation on the Krell patch. I have a Quadra, the expander. In my opinion, it is just as good as the Quadra X. It does everything I want it to, and I love it dearly. Anyways, so that's my pseudo Buchla function generator. It is self-patched, but it also is looping in the woggle bug. So we've got endocycle pulses firing off triggers, which fire off endocycle pulses, which fire off the woggle bug. And then I have the burst and the main interior clock from the woggle bug going to this weird little DC coupled Pittsburgh modular ring modulator, which allows you to mix on an X, Y, and the Z axis, which is odd. The Z axis is apparently just leftover voltage in the module whenever you use it, so it's just essentially adding a chaos oscillator to your ring modulator. It's awesome, and I've never seen another one for sale, and mine is beaten up, it works perfectly. Anyways, so I'm combining a stream of steady gates and bursts, and that is creating this kind of like up and down ducking motion that you're getting off the quadra. In addition to the marbles CV, I also have a sloth up here, the torpor. I think it's the second one, the slower but not the slowest, and it is getting mixed in my precision adder to do the CV. So basically it's Walsh synthesis, but primarily analog, as far as I know, running through an FDN network, which is then has several analog effects into its feedback, then back out, and then being modulated through my universal VCA over here, which fires it over to my Pittsburgh modular synthesizer box. This is my first module. This is why I'm into modular. I wanted an MS-20, and this thing was cheaper, and I love it. Anyways, it's basically just a big fancy filter at the moment, MS-20 style filter, being modulated by one of the lanes on the quadra. So it is a Krell patch, but it's got this weird ring modulated element to it, which is making it kind of bounce around more than you might normally get from Krell patch. And yeah, sounds pretty cool.